Good morning, everyone. My name is Catherine Leswing. I work with the Bureau of Student Wellness at the New Hampshire Department of Education. We'll give folks a minute or two to find us. Today's session is going to be about self-care for teachers. If you haven't already, find us on our social media channels. We're at NH Student Wellness on Facebook, at NH Schools on Twitter. You can also check out our new website, www.nhlearnsremotely.com. We'll be back here this afternoon for an informal chat with myself, Molly, and Susan about screen time and how to manage, or how we're managing in this time of the stay-at-home order. So without further ado, let's get started here. So again, happy Thursday. My name is Catherine Leswing. I'm with the Bureau of Student Wellness at the New Hampshire Department of Ed. Thank you for tuning in to today's morning coffee chat. Our hope with these sessions is to maintain contact with educators who are out there on the front lines of doing remote learning, and to really be a support for teachers, administrators, families, students, anyone who needs support right now while still doing remote learning. So our coffee chat today is about helping teachers manage stress during remote learning. We know that teaching is a really stressful job in the best of conditions. And right now, with the pandemic happening, having to redo a curriculum, having to try to keep tabs on students from afar, trying to manage emails. It's all a bit overwhelming. And so today we just wanted to offer some easy tips for how to manage that stress. None of them are revolutionary. You've probably heard a lot of them before, but at least for myself, I know when I'm going through a stressful time, getting a lot of reminders about so this is a good this is how I'm going to manage stress, hearing my son crying in the background. I just heard him thunk his head. And I'm just going to say, hey, it's okay. We're all in a new situation. My husband is with him. I'm trying to do a Facebook Live video, and it's okay that it's not perfect. To get us started today, I just wanted to pose the question to you all. Why did you become this is comical, actually. Why did you become a teacher or go into education in the first place? Remembering this basic reason for why we went into education can help us just cut through a little bit of those maybe more trivial stressors in our lives that we tend to get caught up in. When I see that my inbox has 60 new emails in it, I can immediately feel overwhelmed. But if I can take a quick pause and remember, well, the reason I have an email inbox is because I'm a teacher and I chose this line of work because I want to show up for kids to help them, can kind of put a little perspective on the overflowing inbox. I myself initially went into education and became a teacher because I really loved that feeling of when I would show students how to do a certain skill and then see them use it independently on their own afterwards. That's such a rewarding feeling, and I think a lot of educators probably feel like that. And so maybe just kind of thinking about, what was that real reason that you went into education in the first place? All right, so now let's get into some tips for how to manage stress. Number one couldn't be more perfect for this scenario that just happened in my own home with my son falling and crying, and it is to embrace imperfection. Why do we need to embrace imperfection right now, especially as teachers? So teaching is kind of like a performing art. You're on stage in front of an audience, and we all want things to go off without a hitch, sort of like this Facebook Live video. I wanted it to go smoothly, and yet here there's a crying baby in the background, and that's just the reality. So we all have a choice when these situations come up. Maybe we got Zoom bombed. Maybe, whatever it might be that's kind of glitching right now with remote learning, we can we can choose our perspective on it. So we can say, well, this is the reality and I'm going to roll with it. Or we can choose to really ruminate over it and carry it with us throughout the day. So I encourage you to try and do the former and not carry it with you throughout the day, but just say, hey, we're all imperfect. One little mantra I like to repeat sometimes is, oh, well, too bad, so what? It's a little bit almost crass, but it sometimes helps me remember, especially with the trivial things. Oh, well, too bad, so what? To let them go. Number 2, practice emotional first aid. I love this idea. This is from a psychologist named Guy Winch, who notes that we need to treat our emotions with the same level of respect that we treat our bodies. So, for example, if we get a wound, we treat it. We wash it, we cover it, we dress it, we make sure to keep it clean over time. But we don't do the same thing when we have an emotional disturbance. So practicing this emotional first aid and really saying, oh, ouch, like that hurt, or I'm stressed right now and I can see it. What do I need to do to help myself get through this? A lot of times for me, especially in this situation, it's taking a break. Just removing myself for a little bit of time can help me get through a given scenario. So trying to treat our emotions during this time in the same way we might treat a physical ailment, and using that emotional first aid, as Guy Winch calls it. Number 3, if you have some time, or I know time is a stretch for a lot of us these days, but if you have some time, or you need to take a little break, sometimes writing down your priorities can help to reframe the stress that's going on. So again, teaching is one of those jobs where there are never enough hours in the day to complete all the tasks at hand, and that alone can create stress. You're up at night thinking about the things you didn't get done, or that student that you're concerned about. So writing down your priorities for yourself and students can help by reminding us what to focus on if we're carrying that worry around with us. It kind of gives us a place to center on and a place to focus on. So this isn't a list of tasks, but more outcomes, right? What do you hope for your students? Why are you doing the work that you are doing? And what's a real priority for you? And that will help later for those tasks to fall in line to help you reach those priorities. Number 4, this is an important one. Stay in the day, even the moment right now. Because we don't know when school will return to the building, it can be easy, it's easy to get caught up in the worry of the future. When you catch yourself ruminating on what will happen in the future, try to bring it back to the day at hand. What classes do you need to think about today? Who might you need to check in with today? Don't say everyone, although it is check in with everyone, but maybe give yourself a student or 2 to focus on for a given day, and really try to bring it back just to the tasks at hand. And if that, even for the day, and if that feels too big, maybe just for the moment or the next hour. What class are you going to work on for the next hour? What task are you going to work on for the next hour? Number 5 is a huge one, is to connect with other teachers. This is the lifeline for teachers, at least it was for me. One of the best ways for us to reduce our stress is to connect with people who are experiencing the same thing as us. So checking in on your colleagues and seeking out support from other teacher support networks. I will post a link in here to Media Power Youth's closed Facebook group for teachers. They are providing a whole bunch of resources. They're a New Hampshire-based organization, and they have created a Facebook group just for teachers to support them through remote learning. So it's not just providing some curriculum, but also a place for teachers to voice what's going on, try and get ideas from other teachers. So connecting with other teachers can be a great strategy. And last but not least is to really know when and where to turn for outside help if you are experiencing more than more than average and manageable stress. So all of us are affected by the pandemic, and all of us are going to have additional mental health needs to what we would in normal circumstances. But if you're not feeling like yourself for more than a couple days, um, really try to look to where you can turn. We have the Know the Five Signs handout that we made, and I'll post a link to that as well in the comments here. And it just gives you some benchmark questions about how to check in with yourself or others about whether or not you maybe need to look for some outside help. NH211 is always available to call, and so that might be a place to turn, or if you have your own private healthcare provider. So I hope some of these tips might be useful. I see a bunch of folks just joined, so I'm wondering if it was a little tough to find the live stream this morning, but again, these videos are always, you can go back and watch them. And they will be posted not only to our Facebook page, but also our YouTube channel. Again, I will post that Facebook group for teachers to join. It's a closed Facebook group, so you will need to answer some security questions or just some questions to get approved. But I would highly recommend it through Media Power Youth, as well as I will post the Know the Five Signs handout, link to that in the comments. And before we close today, I was going to do something that I always did with my students when I was teaching. I taught high school, and I would start every class with the mindfulness bell. And I always felt cheesy doing it at the beginning of the year. The students always felt cheesy doing it at the beginning of the year. But after maybe 2 weeks, if I ever forgot to do the mindfulness bell at the beginning of class, I would not hear the end of it. So the mindfulness bell, the way it works, it's a really short little strategy that I used, because I know, at least where I was teaching, wasting instructional time was not really something that folks looked fondly upon. So it is really just a 30-second mindfulness activity to get students centered or ourselves centered. And I have so it's a little singing bowl, a Tibetan singing bowl. But you could do this probably with even, you could get a chime online. And I would say to students, you can sit up straight if you would like to. You can close your eyes if you feel comfortable. You don't have to. A lot of students would actually just kind of put their heads down on their desks, and I allowed them to do that. And I would tell them that you can use this time for whatever you would like to use it for. But if you would like to use it to just shut off your brain and take a minute to get centered before class, that's a great idea. So I have no idea what the sound is going to sound like over Facebook Live, so I apologize if it's tinny, but the way we'll do it is you can close your eyes and just take a few moments to yourself, and when you no longer hear the sound of the bell, you can raise your hand. That's how I would do it with students. So you can raise your hand at home if you would like to. So we'll do it now. Hold it up so you can see. Nice job. All right. Thanks for amusing me with my mindfulness bell. I hope you got something out of these tips today. Make sure you like us on Facebook at NH Student Wellness and on Twitter at NH Schools. Keep your eyes posted for those links that I'll put in the comments, and also check out our website for how to some tips and resources for remote learning, which is at www.nhlearnsremotely.com. Thanks so much, and we will be back here this afternoon. Take care.